Welcome to another video. I am so excited about this one. I really want to talk about something personal because I know so many women struggles with this. If you've ever struggled with a body image, maybe trying to get lean, you've maybe struggled with food like myself, and now you're thinking about fertility, this might hit home. I want to share with you my personal journey going from being a bulimic for 12 years, really struggling with body image, under eating, overtraining, losing my period, to now being 21 weeks pregnant. So just to take you back to when I was a teenager, I got on my first birth control pills when I was 16 years old because I've had some acne issues and skin issues, and the doctor that I was seeing back then recommended me to get on birth control pills. So my mom said yes to it because she thought that it would be also a great solution. I was on those pills till 21. So for about 5 years, and the moment I got off those birth control pills, when I moved to Chicago, because I'm originally from Czech Republic, I've decided to just stop taking them altogether. So I was 21 years old. Around that time, I really struggled with food because I became bulimic when I was 17 years old. But the reason why I'm saying this and why there is a big connection to it is because I struggle with food big time. I was under eating, overeating, at the same time binging and purging. And then when I got off the birth control pills, my body was a complete mess. I've actually lost my period for the first time around the age 22, right after I got off the pills. My acne got so bad and I didn't get period for about 2 years. I linked it to the birth control pills, but now looking back, I know for sure that it was definitely caused by the eating disorder, the under eating, the overtraining, sometimes doing tons of cardio, just not treating my body properly. So I lost the period for 2 years. Then my period came back, but I still struggle with bulimia. I went through a lot of personal stuff, like living in Chicago by myself with my ex, who wasn't treating me the best. We didn't have really healthy relationship. It was actually really toxic relationship. And then later on in 2016, we moved to Canada. I struggled with eating disorder the whole time. There were just like times where I would be doing so good, and then there were times where I wouldn't be doing so well. And obviously back then I didn't think about having kids. I didn't think about my fertility. I didn't think about my hormones. I became very obsessed with how my body looked. I started to train very intensively. I was strength training 5 to 6 times a week, sometimes even 7 times a week, because I wouldn't allow myself to take a break. Still struggle with horrible relationship with food, still purging after eating, and thought that the exercise would fix it. I didn't understand what I was actually doing to my body the whole time, because again, I wasn't in a relationship where I was thinking about having a child with this person. So I finally, in 2018, obviously I'm no longer with my ex, I finally recovered from eating disorder. And I decided to take my health and fitness to the next level. I got certified as a personal trainer and nutrition coach, and still intensively train, very intensively. I was training again 5, 6, 7 times a week. I'm finally healthy. I have a better relationship with food, but I didn't know or understood that because of the amount of activity that I was doing every single day, I was burning tons of calories. I wasn't eating enough, and I didn't know it. I didn't realize it. Then in 2022, taking you back to when I decided to compete in a bodybuilding show, I decided to take this challenge on because I wanted to prove myself that I can go through a 16-week prep, getting ready for bodybuilding show, and not fall back into the eating disorder trap. So that caused my body losing its cycle again for another 2 years. So that was back in 2022. So only 3 years ago, I lost my period for the second time for a long 2 years. After I step off the stage, I try to eat more. I try to treat my body with respect. However, I was so obsessed with the lean, shredded look that I didn't allow myself to gain more weight. Around that time, I started to digging deep into why do I not have a period? It makes no sense, but it just really felt like I didn't understand my body. So I started to dig a little bit more. I went to see a few doctors. They've done a bunch of testing, blood work, ultrasounds, all these things, and they had no answer for why I've lost my period. They've assumed that I've had a PCOS. They pretty much didn't give me a right or like straight answer to why my period is not coming for 2 years, up until the point where I have found a book that calls No Period Now What? This is the book. I will link it below so you can check it out. And reading that book made me realize that I have had hypothalamic amenorrhea, which is, in other words, missed period due under eating and overtraining. So I've diagnosed myself with this condition because doctors didn't know. So I went to see my doctor, told him I think I have, they call it HA, and this is why. And he looked at me and he said, yeah, I definitely think you have HA. I was like, great. So the first question that the doctor asked me was, can you stop training and eat more? And around that time, I was 100 and maybe 55 pounds, 160 maybe, pretty lean. This is exactly how I looked. I love my body. I wanted to be shredded. I didn't allow myself to eat more because I loved that look, but I didn't really understand what was that lifestyle doing to my body and how it negatively was actually impacting my hormonal health. Right now, for reference, I'm 200 pounds. So yes, I was 40 pounds lighter than I'm now. And that was exactly the look that I wanted to keep. But I had to came to a conclusion and a hard decision to understand that if I wanted to stay lean, that means that I likely not going to get my period. So because I wanted to be hormonally healthy and I was already in a relationship with my current partner, I have made the hard decision to start gaining weight and actually slowing down, working out less, resting more, and just treating my body a little bit differently, sending my body signals, hey, you are safe. It was extremely hard because I just didn't want to gain weight. I couldn't imagine myself putting on extra weight and not feeling comfortable in my clothes. But I was literally in between decisions. Do you ever want to have kids, or do you don't and you want to be lean? I wanted to have kids, and I knew that that was the only thing that I needed to change, or that was something that I needed to change in order to get what I wanted. So I started to eat more. I've gained some weight. I probably went from the 160 to 178 before I got pregnant. So yes, I've put on probably around 15 pounds at least. And my period came back. After long 2 years, my period finally came back. It was in January, I remember that. I flew to Europe, visit my family for Christmas. And because I haven't been training and I've been just overall just relaxing, I was eating more because my parents always want to feed me. My period came back around that time, and it was after 2 years of not having a cycle. So I obviously celebrated. I was so happy. And then I came back to Canada, and this is a crazy story I want to share with you that I haven't really shared much, but here I am being honest and just sharing everything that comes down to my fertility journey. So when I came back from Czech Republic, I've lost my period again. I only got one cycle while I was in Europe, and then I came back and I lost my period. So when it happened, my partner, Ken, asked me, take a pregnancy test. Maybe you're pregnant. I took a pregnancy test and it came back negative. So I was like, no, I'm not pregnant. I am, again, dealing with HA, hypothalamic amenorrhea. I probably lost my period again because I came back to Canada, more stress, work, workouts, etc. But because I also gained some weight in check, I've decided to do a little cut. So back then I was working with the coach and I told him I want to lose about 10 pounds. He said, sure. So we started cut that became very drastic. I actually ended up being in a 1,000 calorie deficit a day. I was doing cardio on empty stomach first thing in the morning. And for 8 weeks, I was following this routine. I've lost 10 pounds. And then one day I woke up with these cramps and I was like, I'm getting period, but it's really strange because I'm in such a drastic cut. I'm not eating properly and enough to support my body. I'm doing tons of cardio. I'm strength training. My body is definitely not in a state to feel safe to get period. I knew it. I started bleeding that day and it ended up being so intense that Ken had to call an ambulance. And when the ambulance came, they took me to the hospital where they told me that I am pregnant. That was in 2023 and I had no idea that I was actually pregnant and I've lost the baby. So that was the first time I got pregnant and had a miscarriage. Few months later, we traveled to Italy and I got pregnant for the second time and had another miscarriage. So when it happened twice in a row, pretty much the same year, I've realized that something is not right, that my body clearly can get pregnant, but my body cannot stay pregnant. So hormonally, I was in the right place to carry a baby. So we went to see my doctor and my doctor suggested me to go and see a fertility specialist. So they refer us to a fertility clinic. We've gone through lots of testing. We've gone through a lot of blood works, ultrasounds, and all of these things just to find out whether we can have kids ever, whether it's me or it's him and what is going on. It took us about 6 months to go through all of these tests. When we were done, our doctor called us and he was like, well, so Ken is fine, but the one thing with Martina is that her progesterone is so low. So yes, you can get pregnant, but your body just can't hold the pregnancy. So around that time, we knew that we want to have kids. So we said, okay, what do we need to do? And the answer was very clear. The answer was, you need to gain more weight, you need to eat more, and you need to train less, you need to do less steps, and you need to just make sure that your body feels safe. So I went through another crazy transition when I had to allow myself to eat more and gain weight in order to get pregnant again and stay pregnant. So we went through, we got a little bit of help with a medication that helped my body to produce more progesterone and actually helped me to ovulate. And lucky enough, we got pregnant on the first try, which I'm very grateful. So in June, I got pregnant. Right now, I'm 21 weeks pregnant. Everything is looking great. But I also wanted to talk about all the changes that I had to make to get pregnant this time and stay pregnant and not have another miscarriage. I had to start training way less, so I had to drop my workouts from 6 times a week to only 4 times. Instead of trying to hit PRs and get stronger every single week, I had to lower my intensity, so I started to lift around 70% of my rep max. I had to also manage my stress way more, meaning that throughout the day, I was putting up feet against the wall, which sends your body signals that it's time to rest and digest. It really calms your nervous system down. And so that was something that I started to do very consistently throughout the day, after my workouts, after my lunch, after my meetings. Whenever I felt that my body was stressed out, I took 5 minutes, lay on the floor, elevated my feet against the wall to just send signals to my body that it's safe. I started to eat more, so I went from averaging 2,200 calories a day to eating 25, 26, 27, 28 sometimes. I've put on more weight. I slept more, so I was very diligent with my sleep routine. I used to run on 4 or 5 hours of sleep. And when I decided to make these changes, I was very, very diligent, making sure that I'm getting a minimum of 8 hours of sleep. And with the help of the medication that helped me to ovulate, we got pregnant on the first try, and the pregnancy is progressing amazing. I feel great. I haven't had really any sickness. Like sometimes I feel a little bit like nauseous, but it's not like horrible. It's just part of it. I feel sometimes tired, I feel hungry, I feel snacky, but I still train. I do 10,000 steps a day. I train anywhere between 3 to 5 times a week. Heavy lifting, not hitting PRs, listening to my body, obviously avoiding certain exercises that are not safe for me right now, but just like moving my body every single day, because that's truly important. For me, being pregnant now is such a gift, because after everything I've gone through, I truly embracing this whole journey. And yes, I am 200 pounds right now, which I can't even believe that number. But I don't even know how, but I'm just okay with that, because I now have such a different priorities. Like I want our baby to be healthy. I want to have a great pregnancy. I want to feel great. And the last thing that I want is to be depressed or cry in the bathroom in front of the mirror, complaining about my body and the fact that I'm gaining weight. It's just part of the process. So if you're watching this and you're going through something similar and you feel like, oh my God, my body is changing, I need to just, change the clothes, just buy a bigger clothes. I've literally spent, I don't know how much money already on buying bigger clothes. Everything is in a size large. And although I was very not hoping that I won't have to do it, it just came to the point where putting on the old clothes was just making me very sad and depressed. And I didn't want to put myself through that. So I spent more money on large clothes that I'm gonna sell afterwards. And I also keep reminding myself that this is just a temporary phase. This is truly just a temporary phase. And I know 100% that I'm going to get back into shape once the baby is here. I know how to get in shape without starving myself and, just doing things that I used to do in the past that weren't the healthiest. I know that now I'm still maintaining my strength. I'm lifting weights. I'm not sitting just home and eating chocolate. And I'm doing what I can, and I'm doing what my body is allowing me to do day to day. And I'm very grateful. So if you're watching this and you're struggling, just know that it's just part of the journey. Like, it's going to happen. You're going to put on weight. You can't really avoid it from happening. So just embrace it. And I also hope that this video has helped you if you're maybe struggling with fertility, if you're maybe, a woman who tries to stay lean and or over exercises and doesn't eat enough food to support your hormones. Know that sometimes you have to step outside of your comfort zone and do things that are uncomfortable, like putting on some weight and maybe training a little bit less, but at the end it's 100% worth it. So I hope that this video has helped you, and I hope you've liked this. I really wanted to record this for you because I've got many requests from women when I announced my pregnancy, how I got pregnant, how was the journey, and them sharing that they are having fertility issues. And because I've gone through this, I wanted to share my own experience and hopefully help you. So thank you for watching. If you like this, comment, like, subscribe, and I will see you in my next video.